Hey Algebra 1, and thanks for tuning in. This is going to be your Chapter 11 data analysis review for your test. We're basically just going to be looking at the measures of variation and just reminding ourselves how to find those. So for number 1, you're supposed to find the mean. What you need to do is you're supposed to add these all up together. So that would give you a total of 153 when you added them. And then you're going to divide them by how many there are, and there are 6. So if we divided 153 by 6, we're going to get 25.5. So our mean is 25.5. The median can be found by putting the numbers in order from least to greatest. So this is what that looks like. Once you have them in order from least to greatest, you're basically just trying to find the middle number. And if you take one off the left and one off the right, you're left with 23 and 26. So you basically would just need to find the mean of 23 and 26. You could do that by adding 23 plus 26, and you get 49. And then you're basically doing 49 divided by 2, which gives you 24.5. So your median is 24.5 for number 2. Number 3, you're trying to find the mode. Again, for a stem and leaf plot, the stem in this case is going to be your tens place value, and the leaves are all going to be your ones place value. So like if you have the first number would be 10, and the second number would be 11, the next number would be 12, and so on. The mode in this case is 31 because it appears the most. To find the range, we have to find the highest number and then subtract the lowest number from that. The highest number is 48, and the lowest number is 10. So when we subtract those, we get 38 as our range. Okay. The next thing we have, it says how many students earned a scholarship that was above the mean amount. Well, first we have to find the mean, and in that case we're going to add first. So when we add these all together, we get 10,300. And then we're going to divide that by the 8 amounts that are listed, and we'll get roughly about $1,287.50. So the mean amount is $1,287.50, which means all we need to focus on are the ones above that. 1,900 is above it, 2,800 is above it, 1,500 is above that, and 2,000 is above that. So there are 4 students who got above the mean amount for a scholarship. For number 6, we're looking at this data set of 15, 25, 10, 35, 40, and 30. And we are just basically figuring out if the number 25 is replaced by 40, what happens to the median? Well, first I would find the median of the original set of data first. So here's my original set of data, and the median is going to be right in between 25 and 30, which would be about 27.5. But if my new set of data, I'm replacing 25 with the 40, this is what that would look like. So now I have 2 40s instead of that 125, that singular 25. And I look here right in the middle, I have it right in between 30 and 35, which means my median now is going to be 32.5. So for these options, I should choose B. The median will increase because your data is now getting higher on the end. Anytime you add some data on the right-hand side, it's going to get higher for the median, or if you added data on the left-hand side or the lower end, it's going to get smaller. Let's go ahead and flip the page and look at number 7. Number 7 says, what happens to the mean if a score of 95 is added to these original quiz scores? Well, originally we would want to find our original mean. So let's go ahead and do that first. So first what I did is added my original quiz scores of 85, 78, and 80 and got 243. And then I'm going to take 243 and divide that by 3, and I'm going to get 81. Now, if I add 95 to that, I'm basically just going to come down here and add 95 to 243, and I would get 338. But now I've got to take this 338 and divide that by 4. And obviously, just like what happens to your grades, this mean increased. It went to 84.5. So we were at 81, and now we're at 84.5, so the mean will increase. Some of you maybe were able to find that without showing your work. I would just maybe make sure to calculate those before you give your final answer. Number 8, you're just looking at the line graph to estimate what happened in 95, and 95 is right in between 1990 and 2000, before you guys were even born. Crazy. And it looks like we're right in between 80 and 90, so I would say that the estimation would be about 85 kilograms. For number 9, which score range was achieved by the most people? And that's going to be C, 10 through 14 points. This is a histogram, just for an FYI. On the next page, we have number 10. How many students had a spelling test that was at least 35, but less than 55? So at least 35 means including 35. So here are my 35s, and 36, and I have 40s. And then less than 55, I'm going to stop at 54. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 students that had a spelling test of at least 35 but less than 55. For number 11, we're looking at a frequency chart, or some of you like to call this a dot plot. Either way, we are trying to figure out how many guests went sledding at least one time. So you're just focusing on this portion of the data. At least one time would mean 1 or higher. And if you counted all these frequencies, you should get 17 guests. For number 12, again, we're comparing some stock prices with a double bar graph. What was the price of the Thompson Corporation stock on Wednesday? So Thompson Corporation is here in this first line, and then Wednesday is the striped line, and we should get $80. For number 13, how much more does a round of golf cost in Arizona than Texas? Well, Arizona has $80 for a round of golf, and Texas has $50. So how much more? That would be $30. Going on to number 14. So the next page, if 300 people at the zoo were surveyed, according to the circle graph, how many picked lions as their favorite feline? Lions is represented by 5% of the population that answered this survey. So you're basically finding 5% of 300. A lot of you maybe like to find 10% of 300 and then half it. I simply just took 5%, changed it to a decimal, so 0.05, and then multiplied by 300, and I'm going to get 15 people. For number 15, it says use the box and whisker plot to find the given measure. The median is 14. It's right here in the middle. The greatest value is 18 here. The least value is 4, which is here. The first quartile, that means like the first median, or the first set of data of the lower half, would be 8. The third quartile is going to be 16, and then the interquartile range just means the third quartile minus the first quartile. So you're basically just doing 16 minus 8, and your interquartile range is 8. Okay. For number 18, it said make a box and whisker plot that represents the data, and these are all temperatures that show for the period of time in April in Omaha. So first we need to go ahead and write our data from least to greatest order. So here I have all of my values. Now what I need to find first is the median. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check off one from the left, one from the right, so I don't accidentally cut off any of my numbers. And I'm going to get 58 as my median, which is here. So that means my lower set of data is between 50 and 57. So my first quartile will be 52. My third quartile will be 60. And then my highest was 62, and my lowest was 50. So now I'm ready to plot all of these points on my number line. So what I did is I went up by 2s, but I still showed each interval by 1, and I just started with the lowest number because they were all pretty much within about a, 12 foot range, or 12 degree range. So I'm going to first go ahead and plot my median, first quartile, and third quartile. My median was 58. I'm sorry, that was a mistake right there. So that's a vertical line. My first quartile was 52. And then my third quartile was 60. So that's going to create my box. And notice we are skewed just a little bit. And then I can go make my whiskers of least and greatest. So least was 50, and then greatest was 62. Okay, so there's number 18. Number 19, our last little page. The table shows the test scores for 8 honors geometry students on the exam. Identify the outlier, and then how does that affect the mean, median, and mode? So if we were to put these maybe in order just to see, you should notice that the outlier is 45. So what's going to happen for the mean, it decreases it. For the median, it will also decrease, but maybe just by a little. And for the mode, there was no change. So the outlier only in this case affected the mean and the median. For number 20, we're just going to determine if these are qualitative or quantitative. The nations competing in the Olympics, that would be qualitative because it's a non-numerical value. We're not comparing, just labeling. Monthly snowfalls in inches, though, that is quantitative because we are talking about number and how many inches of snow we get each month. For 21, we're trying to find the value of x, and it says the mean is 3. So what I would first do is maybe add these all together. So right now it's 16, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. I know if the mean is 3, 3 times 7 gives me 21. And why I'm doing that is because I want to make sure that my mean is still 3. And if I have 7 numbers, that means I'm dividing a number by 7 to get 3, and that the only indication of that would be 21. So I would just need to make sure that whatever I added together would equal that. Excuse me, it should be 18 when I added it together. Now that I know it should be 8 when it's 18 added together, I'm trying to get it up to 21. So if I just added 3, meaning x could be equal to 3, I would get 21, and then when I divide it by 7, I still get 3 as the mean. So x has to be 3. For this one, the median is 16. So basically what I'm thinking is 16 has to be in the middle, 17 and 18 are going to be here, 15 is going to be here. So obviously x has to be something smaller than 16. So I would say x can be less than or equal to 15. Some of you might have said x could be less than 16. Both of these answers are the same. You just have to choose a letter that's lower than 16. For number 23, we're just trying to figure out what appropriate data display would be good for the situation. For number 23, when you're talking about the number of students in each club in the middle school, that would be a bar graph because it shows data in each specific category. Number 24 should have been really easy because it talks about percentages, and normally when we use percentages, we see them on a circle graph because it's showing data as parts of a whole. The last one, you're just describing how the graph is misleading, and then explain how someone might misinterpret the graph. The reason why this one is misleading is the pictures are not all the same size, and to misinterpret this graph, someone might believe that the piano is played more because they're so much larger. So if you do want to use pictures, just make sure that you're using the pictures as the same size. Okay, that's going to conclude our review for Chapter 11, Data Analysis. Thanks so much for tuning in, and good luck.